Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Let's get ready to be at our best now. Be at our best.
Yeah, it's going to be a boring one today.
Those guys don't all suck.
You son of a B.
ASAP, any score, any place, you know we bring well. We bout there. We'll pull up on anybody and get it done.
Suck it, Raiders.
He is dicked.
I love you, Dick, but
Joe, start fast.
They're the next team on our schedule, and we trying to do something big here. We trying to win a Super Bowl.
It's another beautiful day.
It is.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Charger Chat. I'm your co-host, woulda, sitting with two beautiful Duggin boys. Starting with the first, Kev Huggin Duggin.
beautiful. Thank you.
Those beautiful eyes, baby. Don't bat them at me too hard.
Thank you.
Kyle, the coach Duggin.
What's up, guys? We're back.
We are back. Week 2 in the books. It came up an L, but boy, howdy, do we have a metric buttload ton to talk about. It has been a tumultuous day for some of us, just reeling in the social media of what's happened post game. But just to get everybody on the same page, we're going to go through a little quick game breakdown as far as what occurred this last Sunday. It was probably the most energetic game. I know we've only had 2 games this season so far, but this absolutely felt different from week 1, and for good reason. We saw Herbert start off the game to the shock of everybody, and we'll get into the reason why in a little bit. But Herbert, his first game, Chargers' first game at SoFi Stadium, Herbert's first time there, ends up taking the opening drive all the way down, ends up walking it into the end zone, getting his first rushing touchdown on the first opening drive for Chargers. Let's go. Chargers ended up going. They get another touchdown in the second quarter, and Kansas City ends up getting a touchdown as well. But who's there? It's Jerry Tillery to block that ball. Mr. Buckert, not going to happen. So Chargers go into halftime with a 14-6 lead. Excuse me? What? Oh my God. Well, we enjoyed it while we could, because third quarter came around. We got a field goal, and so did Kansas City. We still had the lead, but it was when fourth quarter happened that Kansas City ended up getting 11 more points. Chargers ended up getting 3 more, so we tied it 20-20. Overtime, Chargers against the Kansas City Chiefs, again, ex-Super Bowl champions. Excuse me, how are we able to hold our own with all these rookies? What? Oh, it's exciting. So we went into overtime. Chargers started off with the ball. Unfortunately, we punted it away. Kansas City played so well in the second half that they were just able to keep that energy going and ended up getting close enough to get a field goal. Kansas City ends up beating us 23-20. Whap, whap. But there is so much to take away from this game, folks. It is unreal.
This was such a weird one because I walked away feeling, I usually feel really bummed out after losses, and I'm depressed, and it sucks the rest of the day.
Believe me, we know.
I didn't feel that. I didn't feel that on this one. Like, I was sad we lost, but the effort we gave, how we showed up, the way our defense played, the way our offensive line played, the way our quarterback played when he wasn't expecting to play. Like, he's just like, all right, get out there, Rook. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, it was like, I just think that everyone has this. There's so many quarterbacks that get drafted high and suck. So, like, as much as we are so excited about Herbert, that's in the back of your mind. Jaybert could come out there and dud. And all of a sudden, none of us saw it coming. He gets thrust into action, and he has a pretty damn good game. Like you mentioned, obviously everyone knows he made some mistakes.
Right.
But if that's your rookie start, finding out about playing 10 seconds before kickoff, like, if that alone, like, yeah, obviously we're bummed that we lost, but that alone is like enough to, like, not be super pissed off all of Sunday.
Right.
Like, usually after a loss, I'm pretty bummed the rest of the day. But I was like, okay, well, you know what? They got us when we were down, and our kid showed up.
Yeah,
long
and
season
played
to
way
go.
better than we thought we would. We were all pretty much prepared for a loss. I mean, we all predicted that we would win, but those were bold predictions. We were prepared to eat it.
We are the shamelessly positive podcast.
We
after
absolutely
all.
are. So yeah, when the game started, and that was the other thing too. Game starts, we don't know. I'm not paying attention. I'm sitting down with my folks to have a big fat juicy hamburger, and I look up and I see number 10. I see Herbert. I say, "Excuse me, hold the phone, folks. I'll be right back. I just need to find out what the fuck is going on."
Mom, Dad, hold the phone.
Yeah, hold the phone.
Hold my burner.
Because here's the thing. seeing that Herbert had the ball was number one. I mean, that grabs your attention. But number two, like you said, Kyle, quarterbacks getting drafted in the first round, you don't really know what to expect. And the only thing we really had to compare it to was who we played last week, Cincinnati Bengals, Joe Burrow, who played well, but I mean, we beat him. He was a rookie. We still, our defense still shut him down. So you don't know. You immediately have no expectation of what to see from Herbert. So it's immediately exciting. Like, we have one game with Tyrod, so that's what we have to base with him. We don't have Phillip Rivers anymore. So now what is this guy going to do? We had no preseason to see. Is he good? Is he sloppy? I mean, what are we ready to expect? So
first drive, 80 something yards. Like, we couldn't muster any of that. I didn't have the feeling like that from week one.
No.
I just didn't have that feeling. I didn't have that excitement. Didn't have that, oh man, we were just clicking on all cylinders. It was just felt like a different team.
Yeah, there was a different kind of energy. And I think there's a lot of things that went into that. One, you're in a brand new stadium. I think they were all pretty hyped to get dressed in an actual locker room that had bolts and things on it, not at a soccer stadium.
Right.
Two, although we play the Chiefs twice a year, this is the first time playing them as the defending Super Bowl champions.
Absolutely.
So those guys wanted to go out there and prove something for sure. So everyone was flying around like the energy. There's no fans, and you could still feel the energy of the way that our guys were playing.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I don't know about you guys, I've been just like almost like overwhelmed by the amount of media that's online right now with just talking about the Chargers and Chiefs game. And while I want to vomit here, if I hear any more about how great Patrick Mahomes is,
it's overwhelmingly.
In the same breath, you know what every single guy says? The Chargers have one of the best defenses in the NFL.
Yeah.
Like, I wish they would say a little bit more about Justin, but it's not. It's all about Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
But also how great our pass rush is and how elite our defense is.
Yeah.
So it's like, it sucks. Took an L, and a hard L, because it's against a AFC West opponent. But there's a lot. Like, I almost left that game feeling a little bit better than the W that we got in week one.
Yeah, I think that's the same feeling that a lot of Charger fans have right now, because after week one, it's crazy to me, the fans that we have. And fans, I love you. You guys are passionate, and we are too. But the outcry to bench Tyrod after week one, when we won, was just like, what? But we won. Like, I get it. It was messy. It was gross. You don't want to see. We want to see us clicking, but we won. Like, chill out. And then week two comes around, and Herbert plays, and it's incredibly energetic. There's so much energy on the field, and we're all totally engaged with the game because we've not seen this yet for this team in probably quite a long time. And we take the loss, and people are still saying bench Tyrod, which, I mean, I get it. I totally get it, because watching Herbert play was way more fun to watch than Tyrod.
So much more fun.
Like, I totally get it. But at the same time, like, dude had to go to a hospital for chest pains, like, couldn't breathe, had a hard time breathing. Like, you're already dancing on his grave before he gets a chance to, like, pass the torch to the rookie. Like, this is the guy that Coach Lynn has been standing behind all off season. Tyrod is the guy, and the other players stand behind him too. Like, he is a leader. He is leading.
Right.
Let the guys do their job. Like, I totally understand that you guys want to see Herbert. I would love to see Herbert play as well, but I'm not going to pretend like I know more than Coach Lynn or Tom Telesco or any of the other guys that are on the coaching staff. Right?
Yeah. The problem is the excitement factor. Yeah. Like, seeing all the fans, what they're saying, and what we're all feeling. Like, dude, I had so much fun on Sunday. I haven't had that much fun watching Chargers football in a long time. So that feeling's hard to deny. That feeling's hard to, to not want to have that again.
For sure.
Could Tyrod step up and do something? Sure.
Yeah.
Will anyone in our fan base be wanting that? There's a reality that no. Even you want to listen to the coaches,
Absolutely.
But you would rather watch Herbert play,
Absolutely.
as would everyone.
Well, and we're referencing the comment that Coach made after the game and again today that Justin had a good game, but Tyrod's our starter when he's healthy.
Right.
He came out and already declared that. Here's my only thing that, like, I guess this is kind of an analogy. It's like you give that 16-year-old a brand new car. 9 times out of 10, he's going to go wreck it, right? You give that same car to an 18, 19-year-old,
Right.
they might wreck it, but they have a little bit more chance of not going out and trying to race down the street.
Right.
And I think that that's kind of the mindset that Coach Lynn has towards Justin. And after watching Hard Knocks, that he pulled Justin aside and talked to him. He's not going to let that public comment go without clearing the air and making sure that Justin knows that he's the future of the organization.
Absolutely.
But you have to protect that's awesome that he had a good game.
Yeah.
What happens now if you send him out there next week or 2 weeks from now and he gets pummeled and for whatever reason he gets all in his head
Right.
and he's never quite the same.
Yeah.
I don't want a Baker Mayfield that has a great game.
No.
His first time out, comes back and wins the first game for the Browns in like 25 weeks. But then he goes on to be a very mediocre guy. I would and here's the other thing. Is like I trust Coach Lynn. There's nothing he's ever done. There's nothing he's done to make us not trust him.
Right.
Everyone wants to challenge all of his decisions and question all of his calls and what he's doing with personnel. The guy's never done anything to really steer us wrong in the past.
Right.
Our bugaboo is always injuries. That's the head coach has very little to do with people getting injured.
Right.
So like I don't know why everyone's in this big like ruckus about not being like, what are you talking? I'm not going to watch the Chargers if Tyrod's playing.
Yeah, I can't understand that. Like the thing that kind of caps it off for me too was like the general feeling that I got, and I might be wrong, but the general feeling that I got from fans, especially on social media and stuff like that, was like, we're prepared to kind of like not win this year. Like we're prepared for that to happen. Tyrod's going to go out there. We're going to see what Tyrod can do. See if he can win. See if he can get us to a playoff contention. If he can, great. If he doesn't, we'll hand it over to Herbert. He'll be ready to go next year. We'll draft, some more fresh talent to put on the team and send him out there ready to go, training wheels off. And so now that the possibility that Tyrod can come back from this injury, like that's the thing. Coach Lynn said he's our starter if he's ready to go. We don't know what his situation is right now. We know he had an adverse effect to something that was given to him, but that doesn't mean that I had a good nap and I'm ready to go.
Well,
I could have played.
That was keep in mind too, the thing that was given to him that gave him all that stuff was him dealing with a rib issue. He was on the injury report. So we could go in circles and talk about this one topic for hours and hours and hours. And I'm sure we'll circle around to aspects of it as we go through this. But yeah,
it's frustrating to see Charger fans fighting with each other or to see Charger fans having such heated debates with each other, because the bottom line is we're not the ones making the plays. We're not the ones out there on the field. We're just here to watch the game and root for the team. So let's just do that. Like just root for the team regardless of what decision they make. You can disagree with the decision they make, but don't be so vehemently against it to the point that you want to boycott a game because of a decision that a coach makes on who's going to play on the team. Like that seems totally ridiculous to me. Support the Chargers and be ready. We know now that there's a talented guy like Herbert waiting in the wings that can come and, if Tyrod, shits the bed next game, then that might be what ends up happening. Then Herbert might come back in. We don't know. So let's not get, fight each other tooth and nail over something that we don't know yet. Let's just take it for what it is, move forward, and see what happens next Sunday. Because next Sunday is Carolina Panthers, who, if everybody else is seeing, Christian McCaffrey suffered a pretty brutal injury. What was the deal? He tore his ACL? High ankle sprain.
High ankle sprain.
He's
there was a lot.
He's only out 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, there was like 8 other torn ACLs this weekend.
It's hard to keep them straight.
Yeah, but no, he's 4 to 6 weeks, I think, with a high ankle sprain.
Wow. So, yeah, we're going to play against the Carolina Panthers without Christian McCaffrey. Cam Newton's at New England now, so they've got Teddy Bridgewater, and from my understanding, they haven't been playing too great. So I'm looking forward to next Sunday, regardless of who is slinging the ball. But back to the game that we just had, which, again, was a loss, but still was more exciting than week one. I won't deny that. So looking at the team news, because it's not even just from the fans. We're also getting it from the players as well, unfortunately. Desmond King had himself a field day on Twitter with a bunch of texts. Initially, it was a little bit cryptic, but then it slowly became true of what it was that he was talking about. It started with, I'll continue to do my job, but I'm going to need answers real soon. Followed by, if anybody know me, I'm the most humble person you will ever meet. Is there a reason I'm not on the field? Question mark. Some people want to know. No way we should have lost. And yikes.
Yeah, dude, what the hell? Like, what? I don't see this ending well at all.
There's no
right
way.
now.
No, there's no way. Desmond King, in my opinion, needs to be traded right now.
Yeah.
I think he needs to go. If we can get anything for him, to be honest. I think he's a good football player, but he now has a track record. We already suspended. He didn't play a game last year because of something that he did. Now he's coming out on Twitter blasting our whole organization.
Yeah.
He has to go. There's no way that this gets resolved.
Yeah.
He's already he's put himself in that hole. And now he's going to be a free agent next year. He's playing 50% of snaps right now. Even like when Rayshon goes down, this isn't the fill right now. Chris Harris came in and played inside, and Mike Davis was out at corner the rest of the game. So he's not the answer. He's a specialty package guy. So I like him, and I think he's a good football player, and I think he helps our team right now.
But you can't do this shit.
You can't do this kind of crap.
No.
And Coach Lynn doesn't put up with this crap. So
Well, and coach responded with to somebody asking him that. He said,
yeah,
if someone in our building wants answers, they know where to get them. They might not like the answers they get. And he said it was disappointing that a player would turn to social media.
It is.
Like, that's clearly not the way Coach Lynn he's not gonna deal with that. Not gonna take that.
No.
And I don't remember in the past anybody doing this after a game for the Chargers. I don't remember experiencing this.
So he says he's the okay. I don't want to attack Desmond King. That's not my goal. But he says he's the most humble guy, and then he says, "No way we should have lost." Like as if he would have played more than we would have won.
Right.
Yeah, it's like the opposite of what you just said 2 tweets ago.
Yeah,
That's not being humble, Desmond.
come on,
Damn.
dude. I like you. I love watching you play football.
Absolutely.
And you're fun, and you've contributed a lot to our team over the years. Just come on, go talk to your coach, and if you have an issue,
Don't air out the dirty laundry, man. I mean, you have those conversations, and if you don't like it, I mean, sorry. Like the game's in the past. Like the mentality of this team is always to not look at the past, is to always move forward, always look to the next week and prepare yourself for the next week. So if you didn't have a good game last week, oh well. Like it's not going to change anything. It's not going to be any different.
There's clearly some underlying things that he's been unhappy with.
Right.
So
we don't know the full story for a lot of things that happen with the Chargers organization, and this is just one more thing. So for him to air it out like that is really not the Charger way.
there's nothing good. Dude, Desmond, there's nothing good that's going to come from this.
I don't know what you were
nothing.
expecting when you do that.
yeah, he needs
Maybe he
needs
wants
to come
get
back.
traded.
Maybe.
Maybe
He
that's
needs
just what he wants.
He needs to come back in. Well, I guess it worked for Jamal Adams. Did the same thing, and he got traded. And now he's on the Seahawks kicking ass, and he was on the Jets.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
So maybe he's hoping he's Jamal Adams.
he's citing precedent. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with Desmond King. We'll see if he's even on the field next week against Carolina. But one of the other kind of interesting facts that came out was the Week 2 LA Sunday TV rankings. Chargers and Chiefs was the number 1 ranked TV show. I guess because Emmys are on there. So Chargers Chiefs was number 1, Lakers Nuggets number 2, Seahawks Patriots number 3, Emmys was number 4, Rams and Eagles 5, and Steelers Broncos 6. So
Fight for LA,
fighting
baby.
for
It's
LA,
over.
it's over.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rams come in 5th. Excuse me.
And the Lakers,
Yeah.
the fact that we
Yeah,
had
the
more
fact beat the
viewership than the
Lakers.
Lakers,
Well,
and that's
the
a playoff game.
My question is that people wanting to see the Chiefs?
No, Kevin.
I'm just asking. Just asking. I'm playing devil's advocate here. I love it. I love beating the Lakers out.
Right.
But did they do that? Did we do that because there's so many damn Charger fans? I would hope to think
I think
so.
we picked a lot up during Hard Knocks. I think
Hard Knocks has people interested, and seeing us playing like that's going to keep them around.
I love it. I love the positivity. Like we said, shamelessly positive. Let's
Right.
go.
Shamelessly positive.
I'd be curious if I could see a graph of like the time from like the start of the game to the end, like where
Dude,
the
I'm sure
peak
when
was.
Herbert,
That's what I'm saying.
When Herbert went in, it's just like
Everyone was like,
jacked
oh,
up.
right.
through
I'm
the
sure
roof.
they're like,
oh, Herbert.
Yeah, Chargers, Chiefs, Chiefs are going to blow them out. Wait, Herbert's playing. Excuse me? What? And had to get back into it. So
maybe there's a lot of Oregonians in LA at the time, and they just like, oh, our boys playing.
Oh, yeah.
Go.
the
I don't know how do Oregonians sound? Go, eh? That's
Go,
Canadian
eh?
for sure. eh?
Canadian. No, they're just.
I don't know why I made them Canadian, eh?
It's Portlandia, so there's a very cultural mosaic of accents and people from Portland. So yeah, as everybody knows,
Sure, there's some Canadians in there.
right. The great Portland migration that came this last Sunday happened, and that's what we had to thank for having the high TV rating. So. So a lot of interesting news there, and there's some injuries as well, which we'll get into that a little bit. But let's stay focused on the game. We'll go through our favorite points here. Kev, what was your favorite moment of the game?
I think just the overall was Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier when we were talking about him, like I was so taken aback when I saw him on the field with his helmet in the huddle. Like I just didn't. I just thought I was daydreaming. It just felt so weird that was happening.
Mm-hmm.
Then I got insanely excited. Then the first drive happened, and I was just like, I was sitting in my room by myself, just kind of looking around at people that weren't there. Like, are you seeing this? Is it just me?
I called Kevin like 3 times in the first quarter. Like, dude, what's happening? I don't even know what to say. Someone tell me.
I
what's
didn't
happening.
answer the first one because I was looking at my imaginary friends. Like, what's happening? What's happening? But, just what he was able to do, his poise, and, 22, 33, 311 with a touchdown and a rushing touchdown.
Yeah.
Interception, unfortunately, and
he knocked out a linebacker. He knocked the linebacker unconscious.
Jacked him up. Did you see that guy? I felt like you never want to see somebody get knocked
sad.
out.
I didn't want to see him get hurt.
But there's an element when the guy got up and it was just kind of like just staggering.
He took
around,
a minute.
like looking around. He's getting shit in the locker room for that, getting knocked out by a rookie quarterback.
Right.
So,
you let this college kid knock you down.
Yeah. So a couple more things on Herbert. He joined Cam Newton and Otto Graham as the only QB to throw for 300 yards and have a rushing TD in their first game.
That's amazing.
So that's pretty insane. And then, the comparison to is like, everyone, there's this like hype train that the NFL gets on, and it is, you can't get off of it. That's all people. One person has a take that's strong on a player, or a player was in college and they loved him so much that just like before they even play their first game, they're God's gift to football. So Joe Burrow, my opinion, before the season even started, was God's gift to football. His first game, he was 23 for 36, 1 rushing touchdown, no passing, 190 yards, 66 passer rating. Justin Herbert, his first game, 27 of 33, a little higher percentage.
22 of
33. 22 of 33, sorry. 1 rushing touchdown, 1 passing touchdown, 311 yards, and 94 passer rating versus the 66.1.
Right.
I heard so much about Joe Burrow and his abilities as a quarterback after
we beat
week
them.
1. After we beat them. Granted, it was an ugly win, but that happens. And then Herbert does this, and it's just, he's not part of what people are talking about. He's not a part of that hype train.
No.
There's no hype train for him. People are like, oh, whoa, he messed up my bet, or he, Tyrod Taylor fucked up my fantasy. Like,
right.
That's the narrative for him right now.
Right.
Like, and we'll see if it flips, but it was just kind of, I'm so happy. And I know I was the Tua homer during the draft and all that shit. And I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I think Herbert's fantastic. And I know it's one game, it's small sample size. But I get the feeling when he drops back and he's getting ready to throw it, I get that feeling like, oh, something's good. Something good is about to happen.
That same Phil feeling.
Yeah.
It's not exactly the Phil feeling, but it's freaking way closer than the Tyrod feeling.
Well, he was accurate.
So-
he was nailing targets, like that pass to Keenan Allen. Like he had to
Oh,
do
that
that weird
one.
like twist and catch. Like that was crazy.
He threw some dimes, man, and I'm really pumped on him. But all right, Kyle, what was your highlight, your favorite part of the game?
So I have a 1A and then kind of a shock, like odd 1B, but after going back and watching tape, my 1A was kind of what I already mentioned. It was the overall just energy that the team had. It's like sometimes when I watch a Charger game, I just kind of like, you can just sit there and kind of watch and relax, drink a couple beers and chill. I was like on the I have 3 broken ribs. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time, like screaming and jumping up. I'd like jump up.
Maybe that's why you don't feel so good today.
Yeah, I'm like sore from yesterday's game. But yeah, there was just something different. You could tell energy, and that's what's the best. That's what's so fun about football is when that energy gets going. But my 1B after watching some of the game again yesterday we have NFL Game Pass and watching it in like slow-mo, the different angles and stuff. Man, Kaiser White didn't play in the first game. Nick Vigil played the whole time. Kaiser White played this whole game. He had an outstanding game.
Yeah.
He stepped up big and he made some really big plays. He was getting downhill hard. That's why our run defense looked really, really good. He was filling the hole really well. So that was really exciting for me, for a guy that we all know is good, but just hasn't
capable. Yeah.
One reason or another gets hurt or something happens. But yeah, he had a really, really good game. So that was really exciting for our defense with Tranquil going down.
Absolutely. Yeah. My favorite part of the game was the opposite side for Herbert with our running backs, man. Our running backs came to play. Like Eckler almost hits 100 rushing. Joshua Kelly gets 64. But then you look at the receiving yardage and you go, whoa, wait a minute. Eckler pulls in 55 yards receiving. Kelly pulls in 49. Like, these guys had days. We almost had 500 yards for this game total.
Dude, I'm going to tell you, I think this Trey Turner signing might be the biggest deal. We were running a lot to the right side of that line, and he was pretty dominant. And even when losing Bulaga early, Trey Pipkins stepped in and
did well, man.
He did well. Our offensive line, our offensive line coach, I don't know. These are the same players we had last year, right? Same players.
More or less, yeah.
So I went back and watched a little bit. So they did good. In pass pro, they did pretty good. Look, Justin Herbert got the ball out quick, so they didn't have to hold up that long. But they did good. We didn't have a huge amount of pressures. It wasn't crazy. But with our run scheme being a zone, our running backs are so good and so built for our run scheme. Somebody can miss a block, and they see that, and they'll cut back right away. Because in a zone, there's not necessarily a hole that you're running to, that we have to clear this so that he can run here. You're running in a direction, and you get that defense flowing, and then somebody loses a block, you cut back and try to wiggle through. Our running backs have such vision that it makes up for any inadequacies in the offensive line. And after going back and watching some, we'll get into it in the coach's corner a little bit, but I think that our running backs cover up for a lot of mistakes that our offensive line are making. But that's fine as long as our running backs are good. Ran for like 200 yards, so we're good.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So to the other side of that, what were some of the least favorite moments of the game? Kev, we'll go back to you.
I hate the Kansas City Chiefs kicker. That's just my least favorite thing of the whole.
Only the
thing.
kicker? That's it?
That's really all my hate and anger is boiled down to him and his ability to make 55+ yard field goals like it's nothing. Like our defense held the Chiefs to forcing them to make over 50-yard kicks.
Yeah, they couldn't even get past the 40-yard line.
Well, they couldn't do anything. But their kicker, we iced him twice. He got iced twice, and he made all 3 of them.
Conspiracy alert. Adam, Dog, what did you see online that could potentially the NFL might have to look into?
I watched a video. Somebody posted on Twitter that it looked like, I don't know who the guy was. It was their punter that held the ball for Butker to kick that bomb 55-yard plus field goal. He definitely picks something up off the ground after he kicks it. Now, I don't know what it is. I don't know if he puts a penny on the ground. It's his lucky penny, and he just knows to put the ball there. But he definitely picks something up, and he holds it in his hand.
Before he goes to celebrate, he puts his hand back down right where the ball was kicked.
Picked something up with his fingers. So there was a lot of
could have been a T. That's all we're saying.
Right. I mean, it could have been a T. I don't know. They're going to have to look into it. But, you get that kind of malarkey. You get, Tyreek Hill getting a touchdown, taking his helmet off. And I see that, and I go, that's a flag. That's a flag right there. I should see a flag here any second. Wait for it.
The biggest fraud of the whole game. The biggest fraud of the whole game is how is Andy Reid's visor not fogging up now?
They probably sprayed some formula inside there.
Inexplicable.
Yeah.
Some Rain-X.
Some juju is going on in that game.
Yeah, there's some raised eyebrows in there for sure as far as reffing. We'll see what happens in the weeks ahead.
What about you, Kyle? What was your least favorite?
Well, as you called it, Kevin, my coulda, woulda, shoulda was our defensive line coulda, woulda, shoulda watched the ball instead of listening to that stupid snap count from Patrick Mahomes, because we jumped offsides 4 times and they were just in like the worst possible times to do it. You know what I mean? Like, one was in overtime. We had him to 3rd and 8, and Melvin Ingram decides to jump offsides. They get 3rd and 3, pick it up pretty easy with a little scramble.
Yeah.
So it's like, God, guys, it's just like you've all been playing football your whole entire lives. That's stuff that you hear when you're like 6 years old in Pop Warner. It's like you watch the ball, don't listen to the count, watch the ball. Sure enough, they're 30 years old, getting paid millions of dollars, and still listening to the snap count.
The one good thing that on the other side of it, the whole cadence thing was brought up on Hard Knocks for Herbert, but he drew him offsides. He had a good one, and I was like, oh shit, coach did something, worked with him, worked out. So it's just, I think not having fans in the stands, you're going to see a lot more of that. Hard counts. People are going to be jumping.
That's true. Yeah, I think for me, my least favorite part of the game was the times that we just didn't go for it. There was so many opportunities. Like there was a part in the game where Badgley, I think, was close enough to get a kick, to go for a field goal. If Butker can shoot for 55, I see no reason why Badgley shouldn't go for the same. And we didn't. Or the punting in overtime. There's a multitude of things, but really not seeing Badgley go for it, or letting Badgley have the opportunity to try to kick a field goal. I mean, because it's in a brand new stadium, like there was no wind. Like you couldn't be concerned about the wind, and we know Badgley's got the power. I hope that he's not like lost some of his power after dealing with the injury last year. I mean, that might be, I don't know, but not seeing him go for those bombers, especially now that he holds the record for the longest field goal in Chargers history, like let him try.
I think honestly, just coach, the game plan was to like, we need to play this safe against this team. And I saw that this week. That's what it felt like. And that goes into that.
That's not the team you play safe against, though. That's the
Kansas
City Chiefs.
They also went down. They went for a few 4th downs on this game, too. Like, he wasn't completely conservative.
No, that's why he didn't let the only single conservative decision all game was punting in overtime.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert rolls out, truck sticks a linebacker, 4th and 1, go line up, let's go, run it, and we get a first down.
Right.
We went for it on 4th down twice in situations where I was like, oh, that's ballsy.
Yeah.
Because coach knew we're the underdog.
Mm-hmm.
He knows that. You're playing the defending Super Bowl champions. You know you have to take chances, and we did.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought he was aggressive all the way until the very end of the game.
Mm.
And I heard an awesome interview from Rex Ryan today, because him and Coach Lynn are buddies from
he coached underneath him. Coached underneath Ryan.
Yeah, and he said that he talked to Coach Lynn on the phone after the game, and he was like, I had faith in my defense. We got one of the best defenses in the league. I had 2 backup linemen in there, and I thought that we'd be able to get a stop. And that's the thing with all this decisions of 4th, go for it on 4th, don't go on 4th. Man, if he would have gone for it and they get stuffed, there would have been half as many people saying, I should have gone for it.
Amount. It'll be the same amount of hate either way.
Yeah, it's hate. Yeah.
But unless you get it.
Right. That was just weird, though, because it was inconsistent with what he was doing the rest of the game.
Right.
Sure.
Because he was being very aggressive. And then all of a sudden, and now we're going to punt.
Right.
So it was just a little bit inconsistent. But I would have done, honestly, if I was the head coach, I would have done the same thing with the defense, the way we've been playing and all that. But yeah, it's frustrating to lose. You're going to find something to be irritated
by.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. I mean, and with every good comes the bad. So, what was some of the we're looking at some, hindsight is always 2020. There's good to the game, there's bad to the game, and then boy, I wish we could have changed this one thing to the game.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda. So what was your coulda, woulda, shoulda there, Kevin?
Mine was definitely it's the stupid one because it's not specific, but I think the course of what would happen afterwards would have been definitely different, is if Hill would have gotten called for that penalty for taking his helmet. that would have happened. That would have pushed them out of the 2-point conversion range. So
Yeah.
that's my coulda, woulda, shoulda for the game.
Right.
Like that I know it seems small, but that always gets called. That's always that's something that
I don't
has
understand
to be
why
called.
it didn't. I mean,
They missed it. They missed it.
I don't
just-
know
they
who
simply-
could have missed it though. Like there's guys everywhere. Like I should have seen like Lynn like shouting at a ref. Like
they just missed it, and that's the coulda, woulda, shoulda for me. It's like get that 15. That changes. You don't tie it up. Just changes a lot. So that's mine. What's your coulda, woulda, shoulda, Kyle?
It's similar. It was in overtime as well when Mike Williams caught that little hitch on third down and he was a yard short. But then their corner drove him back. He had his forward progress stop and he suplexed him. And we've been called for that several times in the past for unnecessary roughness. So again, it's just like if we could have just gotten that call, there would have been something that maybe it could have turned into. But I don't know. The refs were just kind of asleep at the wheel there at the end a little bit. But yeah, that's just I wonder what would have happened if we could have got that call type of thing.
right.
What's your coulda, woulda, shoulda, Bulldog?
I know everybody would be saying it. I mean, all of these are things that like, well, duh, we should have done that. But
Right.
Of course.
looking at Herbert, when you watch that play where he threw the interception, you're like, when you watch the play, you're like, dude, you could have just ran it. Like just a few more yards, you would have got the first down. We know you can move, but he made a gutsy call, tried to throw it down, and it got picked off. So if he could have kept the ball, we could have kept that possession, kept the drive going. Who knows how the game would have turned out? But if we could have one do-over for me, I mean, especially that early on in the game when we had that drive going, we had the energy still. That would have been sweet to see what would have happened. But again, I can't be more proud of this team for performing the way they did against Super Bowl champs, against a guy that just got a freaking 10-year, $500 million contract. Like this is the best quarterback in the league. And we, defense.
We held them to 60 yards in the first half.
It was crazy.
Yeah. Like I just want to reiterate, we were supposed to get our asses kicked. Handedly kicked.
I predicted no touchdowns.
That's where you were at. Like we were supposed to get our asses kicked in that game, and we did not even close, dude. We are on their level. If anything, week 17 is going to be such a fun
exciting
game. And I hope it's for something. I hope it means something week 17.
That would be so sweet if that was for the championship.
Let's go AFC West title. This is getting ahead of myself. It's week 2.
Yeah, let's not get too excited, but we'll see what happens. We're very proud of the way these guys played. It was a very fun game to watch. Looking at the injury report, as we mentioned, Tyrod, had trouble breathing, had the chest pains. He's been released, so in that regard, he's okay, but we still got to, he's still going to be kind of a day by day. So we'll definitely keep our finger on the pulse of what's going on with Tyrod, since it's such a keystone position for this team. And we've seen
it's a lot of drama.
It's a lot of drama,
he's
man.
feeling. It's going to make people feel a certain way once we find out how he's doing.
Right. You're going to wonder, is he really 100% or is he just 95? And and we're squeaking him out there.
Coach said 100.
Well, Coach said 100. So he better be 100. Well, if he's out there, we better assume that he's fresh as a daisy. Unfortunately, Brian Bulaga ended up leaving partway through the game to a knee issue.
It was early on. It was like the first drive.
It was after the first drive.
Yeah, it was after the first drive. He was go. We didn't have him the whole game.
I didn't see him go down. Did you guys see it, or did he?
He walked off.
Okay.
He walked off the field.
Yeah, because he's Brian Bulaga, Iowa. He doesn't give a shit about knee injuries.
Bulaga, Iowa.
He walks off the field when he's hurt because he's Brian Bulaga. Iowa.
Yeah, he walks off saying Brian Bulaga, Iowa. Injured.
Yeah.
He's like Groot. Instead of saying I am Groot, he just goes Brian Bulaga, Iowa. He's like, oh, he's
Iowa.
No, I know.
Shit. Oh no, he's hurt. Yeah.
Brian Bulaga, Iowa. Oh man,
get the trainer. Get the trainer.
Get the cart. Quit walking, Bulaga. Quit walking. But apparently they got him an MRI to check his knee out, and all of his ligaments are intact.
Good.
Which usually, when you go in for an MRI, I would say about 95% of the time you're screwed.
Because those trainers, they know they can feel.
They can feel it around. So no ligament damage, all intact. So the belief is that it's like a deep bone bruise. And coach said he's day to day. So we'll see.
We will see.
That is a good thing. That's a good sign.
Absolutely. So we'll keep our eye on Bulaga. Justin Jones also had an issue with his shoulder. He might be out a while, would require Tillery to play more snaps, which, dude, if Tillery keeps playing the way he plays, man, that ain't a problem. That ain't a problem.
I sent you this picture earlier. Like somebody put a side-by-side of what Tillery looked like last year, just his physique. What he looks like this year, dude, it is night and day difference. Like the dude got himself ready this year, and you can see it in his play. It's like, 97, 99, and 54 are always within arm's reach from that quarterback.
Awesome.
It's amazing.
Awesome. Well, still, Justin Jones, get better soon.
We need Justin Jones.
We still need you.
He's fantastic.
We still want you to
player.
be here. And then we all saw Jalen Watkins go down partway through the game. They said it was a groin injury, ended up not coming back. So he's day-to-day, which I'm kind of curious if that might have been part of the reason why Kansas City had such a good second half by not having Watkins in that position. I'll let Coach make that decision. But in the wake of that, there's been news the team has been talking to Jaleel Adai, which... Calm down, guys. I know everybody was a little contentious about us bringing Adai.
Heated opinions, yeah.
I know everybody's got strong opinions about Jaleel Adai, but you know what? It's happening. He's not on the team yet, but they're having words with each other.
They're giving him a workout.
That's right.
So he's coming to the facility. So for all you Adai haters, say your prayers.
Say your
really
prayers, and
him.
again, just just trust the coaching staff. They're not bringing in somebody that's. Their intention is to lose. Their intention is to win.
Exactly. If they bring him in and he's not good, they might not have the coach might not have a job next year. Like they very well understand what's on the line for them as well.
Right.
They're not just sabotaging the Chargers by starting Tyrod and bringing in Jaleel Adai.
This Twitter's been extra salty. You know what we should really do to piss them off? Jaleel Adai.
Oh, yeah.
Who's in, boys?
Jaleel.
They're just like Telesco and Lynn high-fiving in the back.
Bringing that little salt.
Get those salty Charger fans.
It's too funny. So we'll see what happens, but for an injury report, that was relatively slim. So let's see. So we've got the upcoming game is going to be Carolina Panthers at SoFi Stadium. So back-to-back games at SoFi. It's a beautiful stadium to look at, so I ain't complaining. But there's been some interesting bits going on with the Panthers. I think we already mentioned Christian McCaffrey's suffering a high ankle sprain. So that's
he's out 4 to 6 weeks.
Major weapon off their roster.
I went and watched their game.
He is their offense.
That is their offense, man. Like they have a couple receivers, but all of that works because of everyone worrying about Christian McCaffrey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that is going to be a totally different team.
Yeah, like I don't know how our coaches are going to scout for the Panthers because there's no point in watching game film because it's going to be a completely different offense.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just fill someone in to do what Christian McCaffrey did. Right. Michael Davis is who's in there now, who was in Seattle for a couple of years. Mm-hmm. But he doesn't have the skill set. No one has the skill set.
No one has that. That's a unique skill set.
So the whole offense is going to look drastically different next week.
It's brutal for me because I have him in 2 fantasy leagues. So that sucks for me, but it's also pretty awesome for me that we don't have to face him next week.
It sucks for you, but me and Wooly both. Okay, for the listeners, Kevin's the commissioner of both leagues that we play in, and somehow he ended up with the first pick in both leagues.
Dude, it was auto, dude. I didn't do that.
We're not arguing that.
How obvious would that be if I was like, guess what, guys? I'm really gonna take it to him this year. I'm gonna give myself first picks.
It's pretty darn obvious. But what I was gonna say is before the second draft, because in the first one you took Christian McCaffrey, me and Wooly both said, are you sure you want to go all in and not diversify your investment
portfolio
a little bit? And you've sure as heck didn't. And now look where you're sitting.
Now
looks like Chargers is going to have a lot easier game. So maybe I helped in that.
The cows have come home to roost, buddy. Yeah. So we'll see. I'm kind of curious how the game is going to go, because if Christian McCaffrey's out, you know that their running game is going to struggle, but we know that we're suffering injuries in the secondary. So if their passing game is their forte, how well is our secondary going to perform? So it'll be interesting to see. We'll see how it all plays out. In the Tampa Bay game, they forced 4 Panther turnovers, 2 fumbles, and 2 interceptions. So I like that. That sounds good. Yep. That sounds like a feast day for our D.
Yeah. Teddy Bridgewater just didn't look very good in that game. Like, he threw one of the weirdest interceptions. It was like a screen, but he overthrew him by like 15 feet. It was so bizarre. Like Bridgewater doesn't look very sharp, at least from what I watched in the highlights, the
game.
replay of it.
Yeah, I haven't watched any Carolina game yet, so I couldn't speak one way or the other. So the Panthers receivers, DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson, each went for over 100 yards. That's the question mark to me is how, if we can get Rayshon Jenkins healthy again from the groin injury, and whether or not even Desmond King takes the field next game. I'd be curious to see how our secondary performs against that type of an offense. We'll see. And as we mentioned on the injury report, Christian McCaffrey, but apparently there's also a Yeter Gross Matos, who is a defensive end.
We talked about him.
We did a spotlight on him before the draft.
I kind of lost track of where he went. So yeah, he's here.
He's on the Panthers and he's injured, so he's out with a concussion.
Do you know who's also on the Panthers, boys?
Who?
You don't remember who was on the Rams and got cut last day and joined his daddy?
Oh no, the fudgebacker.
Oh, the fudgebacker.
Oh,
fingers crossed the fudgebacker makes an appearance.
Herbert knocks out fudgebacker. Herbert knocks out fudgebacker, guys.
I can't begin to describe the light that just came on in Huggins' eyes. Like you would think it was Christmas.
So excited for the prospect of this, guys. Even though it's not going to happen, I am more excited for this game than I was before. So thank you, Kyle, for that little sprinkle of hope and love and just happiness you brought to my heart. Come on, Herbert, knock out the fudgebacker.
Oh, man, folks, go out and rent It's a Wonderful Life and see the happiness in Jimmy Stewart's eyes, because we just witnessed that now with Mr. Huggin Duggin. He just, the light came back in his eyes. I think somebody's clapping for a pixie to come back to life in Peter Pan world. But the Panthers are 0-2, and the last time we played the Panthers was December of 2016. Gosh, it's been so long, and we lost 28-16. I don't think that's going to be the situation this time. We'll figure it out when we get to our bold prediction. But before we get to any of that, it's time to look at the coach. All eyes on Coach. Everybody take a knee. We got to hear what he has to say. Coach, what do you got?
Okay, so I have a couple of topics I want to talk about. You guys can cut me off if this gets too in depth or too much, or please ask questions.
Bathe me in knowledge, Coach.
Okay, so two of the biggest plays or situations in the game. One that I wanted to look at because I'm still frustrated thinking about it, was the Mahomes run on 3rd and 20. The fact that he picked up 21 yards. I was just like, what happened?
Yeah.
Like, how was there just nothing there for 20 yards? Okay, so I went back. For 20 yards, there's nothing. So there's a lot of mishaps that kind of happen there. So the first and foremost is everyone hates it when we run zone, right? Everyone gets really upset at the end of the game when we go into zone. Okay, so we were in man. So we were in man-to-man coverage, and what happens in man-to-man coverage is you have to have your eyes on your man. Mm-hmm. You can't look at the quarterback. The second you look back at the quarterback, your receiver makes a little cut and he's gone. So you have to have your eyes on your man the entire play. So you have no idea what Patrick Mahomes is doing, going on back there. If he decides to run, you can't see. Your back is turned to him and your eyes are on your man. So you would hope that in an empty stadium without any crowd noise, maybe a coach could say run or something. Let's give a good run. And they would turn around. That wasn't the case on Sunday. Yeah. So all of our DBs and linebackers are in coverage. So their backs to the quarterback, they're running. And the receivers in Kansas City did a pretty good job of they're looking back at the quarterback. They saw him scrambling. They kept trying to kind of run, or they stopped to block. So our DBs and corners were in a real crap spot. The only guy that's unblocked or unpersuaded is our free safety, which was Nasir Adderley, who he ended up making the play, but he had to respect Patrick Mahomes' cannon of an arm. So he was back there a pretty good ways. Right. So that was kind of element number one that played into there being this big wide open space. Mm-hmm. That's nobody's fault.
That's just
an aspect of running man to man. Then one thing that was really weird to me, everybody wants us to bring more pressure. That's some people are like, why are we sitting in this soft zone and not blitzing? Okay, on that play, we did blitz. To me, the weird blitz is we blitzed Chris Harris off of the edge. He was lined up in the slot over the wide receiver. Chris Harris blitzes off the edge. We take Kenneth Murray, our rookie linebacker, and make him run down the field with Tyreek Hill. So Chris Harris blitzes, Kenneth drops back to run with Tyreek. So I'm like, that didn't, like, maybe you're trying to catch him off guard. It didn't work. The tackle just stood there, stuck Chris Harris, and he did nothing. And so that was a big kind of, I don't know what they know. They know a lot. They're very smart. They saw some tendency. They probably never, I would have never done it. So they probably never thought it would have happened. So we blitz Chris Harris, drop Kenneth, who did a pretty damn good job running down the field. But that was kind of a weird thing. But so that means you have pressure coming off the edge and you don't have pressure coming up the middle. So now Pat can't escape to the outside, but it leaves that lane up the middle for him to be able to step up into an escape. So if here's my thing, we bring 4 all game, right? You bring 4. They got to complete a 20-yard pass. I assume he's thinking, I don't even want them in field goal range. I'm going after the sack or bust. That's kind of what he was thinking. Or if you make him scramble, there's no way he's going to actually run for 21 yards and get a first down by 1 yard. So there is a lot of aspects of that play that just didn't do very well. And then the last and final aspect was we ran a little defensive line stunt. So Melvin Ingram did a little cross with, I think it was Tillery or whoever's playing at nose guard, where he came across the center's face and Melvin Ingram had to fold back in. But when he did it, he just kind of overran his gap, which left a big opening right up the middle that Pat obviously stepped up into and took advantage of. So that whole play was just kind of a big cluster F. There was a lot of things we could have done different. But if we get the sack, Gus is a genius.
Right.
So I'm not saying we should have done it one way or another. I'm just saying those are the factors that played into that not being a very effective play and then picking up a gigantic third down conversion. On the back end, the coverage was really good. There was nobody open for him to throw to at all.
There you go. You got.
How does that compare to last week's with Joe Burrow? It seems like a very similar situation.
When we let Joe Burrow run in for the touchdown?
Yeah. It's very similar, wide open middle of the field. Like, thought you'd kind of shore that up by now.
It's the issue with running man-to-man. You have to have very clear pass rush lanes, and you have to be very disciplined. You can't just all sprint upfield the second the ball snapped. You send 2 or 3, full rushers, but then you got to have one guy that's slowly pressure in the face, maybe even looking to bat a ball down if he sees it goes up. Or even you could put a quarterback spy. You take a linebacker and you put him there 3-4 yards off the line of scrimmage. He just stands there and he spies the quarterback in case he tries to leave. It gives up a guy in coverage, but you eliminate that possibility. And I guarantee you, week 17 when we play them again, they'll have some things to account for those crappy little plays.
Right.
So yeah, it is a bummer of a play.
One thing to kind of touch on for that, not to interrupt you, but there was one Twitter that popped up, and as soon as you talked about pressuring, it immediately jumped into my mind. There was a tweet that came out from Next Gen Stats that has a little chart, and I'll send it to you guys, but basically showing that Chargers blitz the least among teams out of all NFL teams. Were like down near like 10% blitz plays. However, the Chargers almost have 30% pressure rate against teams, which is pretty impressive that we don't have to blitz to get pressure on the quarterback. We don't have to send all the defense in to make the quarterback rush and feel the pressure. Like, we're able to just send my boy Joey and my boy Mel, and we'll send Tillery for backup, and guess what? They're coming to eat you. So that was pretty impressive.
If you want to blitz, you have to run man-to-man coverage behind you. You have to be in cover 1 or cover 0 and behind you. And if you do that, now you're running. There's a lot of great athletic wide receivers, especially on the Chiefs. You don't want to be in man-to-man against them a lot. It's hard to run with them. So I think that's why our defense is so effective against the Chiefs, is we don't have to rush extra people to get in Pat's face. We can bring 4 and sit in his zone and make him have great timing throws and make really, really good passes.
Make him look really good.
Instead of just my guy's faster than yours. So if you go man-to-man, I'm just going to throw it to him and see what happens.
I'm going to magically put this ball in his hands, you son of a bitch.
And then the final thing I want to look at, the last 3 offensive plays in overtime. Just kind of look at it and see what we did. See And now I'm going to preface this, okay? In my film days on Saturday mornings after we would play on Friday nights, because I was a high school coach, you don't go into film expecting a lot of praise. Coaches, when they look at film, they're not necessarily looking for what you did right. Even if you made the play, they're going to look at what technique you didn't use, what was a little bit off. So when I'm critiquing these plays, it's not I no longer like the Chargers or I'm not going to watch them anymore.
Right.
This is just an honest critique of what I saw and what obviously we need to get better at so that we can all kind of watch and maybe learn a little bit. So the first play, 1st and 10, we get the ball in overtime. We run what's called a Z screen. It's a wide receiver screen. So most screens are run to your running back. This is it's all the way out to the sideline. So this was Keenan was out there. Him and I don't know who else was out there in the slot, but Keenan takes one step back. Herbert catches the ball, throws it to him right away. We see this a lot. And then he'll run inside a couple of steps once he gets the ball and then try to turn up field. Okay, so on a Z screen, your guard, center, guard, and tackle on the side of the pass. So let's say that Keenan is on the left side of our formation. Our left guard, left tackle, and center will all, as soon as that ball is snapped, they sit up real quick to try to fake out the defensive lineman like it's a normal pass. And then they sprint to go and try to block anyone that's over the wide receivers.
Okay.
So in essence, as soon as that receiver catches the ball, the guard and tackle are coming to create almost like a wall that the receiver is trying to get behind and then turn up field really fast. So this great wall that's supposed to come from the inside, he's looking for those big fat butts and he wants to get as close as he can. He wants to get as close as he can and turn up field right away. That's how the play works. If that doesn't happen, you don't just throw the ball to Keenan out there and say, hey, make a guy miss. Hopefully you'll get a couple yards. You have guys coming out there, hopefully to clean out the play. And it only works if the defensive linemen take 2 or 3 steps up. Your offensive linemen are able to get out of the way, and then Keenan can get back up field before those defensive linemen figure out what's going on. So watching the play, this was run to our right side of our line. So it was to Tevy and Lamp, or it was to our left side. So it was Tevy and Lamp. Man, they were lost. They had no idea what was going on. They get out there, they both olay and neither of them touched a soul. They run out there, okay. Their defensive lineman got upfield, they sold the fake on a pass. They get out there, they don't touch a soul. Feeney, who's playing center, is able to snap the ball, fake pass, and get out there and make contact with someone before those two doofuses do anything. I was like, man, we're in overtime, and you don't even just take a look before the ball snapped to figure out who you're going to go block.
Oh, man.
They didn't touch a soul, neither of them. I was like, man, you can't do that. So they do that, and it turns into a 1-yard game. The other little critique here was Justin Herbert. He did a really good job. I think the thing he did best this whole game was on those quick little swing passes. He hit them. The quarterback's trying to throw it upfield. So that way, upfield meaning towards where they're going. So they can catch it in stride and already be going in the direction they want to go. And he did a really, really good job because that is what Oregon's offense is based on. So he does a really good job of that. This was the first time all day that I saw him throw behind the receiver. So Keenan had to kind of reach back to catch it, which slowed him down from getting upfield, which cost him a yard or two. So all of that, it just wasn't a very well executed play. I like the play call because we've been doing that all game with great success. And it was set up the way the defensive line worked well, just was not executed well. So that was 1st and 10. We only picked up 1 yard. So then we go to 2nd and 9. Okay, they line up at the line of scrimmage, and you see Jaybert, he looks around and he's checking something. He's making a check at the line. He saw something he didn't like, so he's screaming to the wide receivers, to the linemen. He's checking the play. And you could tell the linemen were ready to go. I don't know, obviously, we never know what they check. It'd be really cool if something popped up on the screen like Jaybert checked it to this, and that. That'd be really cool, but we don't have that. But I think it became a run, and I think he checked it to a run because we had the numbers in the box. Because we had an 11 formation. An 11 means 1 running back, 1 tight end. So we had 6 linemen on the line, and they had 6 in the box. So we had hat on hat. So as long as everyone touches a man, we should be able to pick up quite a few yards. So he checks the run perfect. And we run what was supposed to be an outside zone. So on an outside zone, as soon as the ball snapped, all the linemen are going to step 2 or 3 steps really hard to the play side. So this was supposed to be an outside zone to the right. Like you said, Kev, we love running to that right side, probably because of Trey Turner. So we go right. Everyone goes real hard right. Sweet baby Pupkins just gets blown up 3 yards into the backfield.
Oh, no.
So Eckler immediately
he's back to Pumpkins, huh?
Oh, boy.
He didn't earn his name back yet.
Well, not on that play, at least.
And this, but
Pumpkins.
this is where you have potentially the play's not blown up because of one missed block.
Mhm.
So Eckler we're supposed to get an outside zone, so he's working to the edge. Eckler wants to get to the outside, but if that does happen, he can then put his foot in the ground, cut up field, and try to get a couple yards. So sweet baby Pupkins didn't quite get the job done. So he had to turn up field. Feeney had an awesome block, which allowed us to get a couple of yards. Feeney, he comboed him and Trey got their guard, their defensive tackle pushed up field. Feeney got up to backer really, really well. So we were able to get 2 yards. Okay. So then we go to 3rd and 7. And this is the play that everyone was like, Mike Williams, what are you doing? This was that hitch that we threw to Mike Williams.
Mhm.
He was a yard short when he caught it. And then he got driven back with this forward progress. He was short, 4th and 1. And everyone is going to say, Mike, what are you doing running a route short of the stick? Like, you got to get to the first down. If he hits you there, what's the point? And it was the right play. It was the right decision by Justin Herbert. He saw man-to-man, which was perfect. Mike Williams was isolated up on that side. There was no other receivers, slot receiver or tight end. He was all the way up there, isolated, one-on-one Mike Williams with the corner. You're like, this is perfect. He's running a 10-yard hitch. This is going to be awesome. We snap the ball. There's pressure. Then the Chiefs brought a 5-man rush. And so you can feel it as a quarterback. It's coming at him. So he lets the ball go. The problem was the timing was just off. I don't know if he tensed up a little bit because he saw the pressure coming. Mike ran his route to pass the first down marker.
Mhm.
But if that ball's not there when you turn around, you can't just stand there.
You got to come back to it.
You have to come back to it. If he just stands there, the corner would have cut it off, pick 6, game's over.
Mhm.
So because the ball wasn't there, Mike didn't have a choice but to come back to the ball. And when he caught it, he was behind the sticks. He fought to try to break the tackle. But like I said, he ended up getting suplexed, which should have been a penalty as well. But so the timing, there's just little tiny things in the NFL that cost you big. On first down, our left tackle, Forrest Lamp, and our left tackle, Sam Tevy, don't go touch anyone. On second down, Pupkins gets blown up. On third down, the timing's a little bit off on a hitch. So it's just, don't get pissed off at the play calling. I thought it was pretty good play calling. We checked to a run. If you didn't like the run on second down, that's Jaybird. That's not the coaches.
Right.
So it's like, I thought all of that, we just didn't execute very well in overtime when it really counted. And so that's kind of stuff that as a coach, that's what they look at, like as a fan, you go, what, that wasn't very effective. What are we doing? Mike, why are you running short of the sticks? Why aren't we doing this and that? So, yeah, that was my take on the coach's corner. That's what I saw after looking at a little bit more film.
Well, there you go. That was a good piece to analyze, man. Overtime is not something that we see often, so it's good to get a good look at that and have somebody break it down for us in a way that even dumb old me can understand it. So appreciate that. One other thing before we get too much further, I forgot there was one giant stat that I forgot to mention prior to the game, and I want to mention it right now, especially talking about our game and the defense and how well they played. Joey Bosa's stats versus the NFL through 2 weeks. Guess what, folks? 17 pressures, number 1. Sacks, 2, tied for first. Hurries, 10, tied for first. Run stops, 8, tied for first. Bosa, we spent our money on you wisely, my friend.
Yeah, making that money, buddy.
Absolutely. So
hopefully he gets that tricep back to normal.
Yeah.
He said he was the problem of that thing that was bumming me out is that he was out at the end of the game a lot.
There was a lot.
Winded. I'm not sure why he was out of the game so
there
much.
was a couple plays where Bosa, Tillery,
out.
and Ingram were sitting on the sideline. I'm like, who was there left to play on our defense? Like, who was out there? If you guys are here, who's out there? So it was good to see Bosa play well. So now that we are out of Coach's Corner, we've got Fan Focus to look at. Who do we got this week, Kev?
We have Craig from Texas.
Craig from Texas.
Yeah, he's a really good guy and had a nice conversation. So let's check it out.
Excellent.
All right, we are here with another Fan Focus. We got Craig from Texas. Thank you so much for coming on, man.
Oh, absolutely, Kevin. I really appreciate you having me on. Like I said, listen to you guys all the time and just glad to be a part of the show.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. All right, cool. Let's get into it. So what we do every time we talk to somebody new is we want to find out, how did you become a Charger fan?
Oh, man. So high school football player, I was a running back. And in high school, I didn't really have a team. But I was a huge LaDainian Tomlinson fan when he was at TCU.
Nice.
So I just remember saying to myself, wherever that cat goes, that's going to be my team. And in 2001, when that trade happened and Vic was out of the door and they went with LT at 5, I'm like, okay, where's the Charger gear? I need it. So that's what brought me on board, man. And I've been boat gang ever since.
I love it. That's awesome. So you've been on the roller coaster that is being a Charger fan.
Since 2001, yes. And, nothing's been worse than having my family members stick it to me. Again, I'm from Louisiana, so I'm in Texas by way of Louisiana. So I'm kind of the oddball in the middle of a family full of Saints fans.
Gotcha.
So they got their Super Bowl win, and I've been hearing about it ever since, even though they were terrible for a really long time.
Yeah.
Now I have to live with that, be it my wife, my dad, cousins, you name them, they're all Saints fans. So I catch flack every week that we don't do well.
I hear you. Like, it's similar here. I'm out in the middle of Missouri, just surrounded by Chiefs, and it's just fucking brutal, man. It gets hard. It gets hard, especially like yesterday. I was like, oh shit! Like, I get to like walk around. I shouldn't have thought this, because this is what jinxed us. I was like, all right, I'm gonna put on all my Charger shit, like literally wear everything I have and walk around all the Walmarts in my town and just kind of walk around and mean mug people. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. So, so let's just get into it. Like, what, we'd like to consider ourselves the shamelessly positive podcast. So we'll start with, what was your favorite thing from this game?
It's got to be Herbert, man. Jay Herbo. Of course, when they strolled him out there at the beginning of the game, I think my heart stopped beating for a few seconds. I wasn't sure what to think. I thought they were running a trick play to start the game off or something. So I'm looking around for Tyrod, and I'm like, okay, don't see him. What's going on? And they made the announcement that he was getting the start. And literally, like, I just stopped where I was standing in front of my TV because I was in complete awe of it. But, just his overall performance, man, that kid showed some poise, and to be able to find out that you're going to be starting in your first game in a new stadium. Last time he was in LA was the Rose Bowl. So he got his last win there in his last college game. So I'm sure it was something that was familiar to him, but on a whole different stage. But for him to come out there and show that poise and composure and perform to the level he did, of course, with, a few rookie mistakes, I'm sure that kid was going through the full gauntlet of emotions. But for the show that he put on, it's really encouraging. And I think just in general, a lot of Charger fans probably owe their guy an apology, me, myself included. So
100%. Well, we did an instant reaction to the draft, and I was like, just pissed that we didn't get Tua, and I'm walking that shit back. Like, I own it. My bad. My fucking bad. Because to have not only that, but to like go up, your first game is against the defending Super Bowl champions. Like, how crazy is it that we were such underdogs and he steps in and keeps us in the lead the entire game?
Yeah. And the more you think about the fact that he literally finds this out only moments before the game kicks off is even more amazing to me. I probably would have crapped myself. But yeah, I mean, he went out there and he put on a show, and against the Chiefs to kind of slinging around and going back and forth with Patrick Mahomes. I mean, the kid was throwing some unbelievable dimes. I mean, for somebody who's just out there for the first time against, like you said, the defending champs, that's saying a lot. So future looks pretty bright. We'll see where things go week to week from now on. But, I'm happy we got the guy. I was on the Tua train for a little bit as well. Forgive me, before that, I was a Jordan Love guy. Sucks to say that out loud. Yeah. But I kind of moved over to the Tua lane. And then when I realized we're probably not getting Tua, hitched my wagon to Justin, but I wasn't happy about it. Now, totally different story.
Totally, man. Yeah, and it was interesting too because we kind of chatted on Twitter. That's how we kind of got to know each other, and it was so fascinating to me that week 1 we win, and people are pissed on Twitter. Like the general mood was down. We lose, and the general mood is up. Like I can't wrap my head around it. It's hard. It's hard. What is your take on that?
It's the element of surprise there. No one expected Herbert to perform the way he did. I want to say probably the majority of us were thinking doom and gloom when we realized he was getting a start. Initially, when the game ended, I felt like it was another one of those Charger-esque losses. And so I was down for a few minutes, and then I'm like starting to look at recaps, and I'm like, man, this kid really killed it. I mean, again, he made some mistakes, and games like this with the Chiefs always seem to end up the same way. It comes down to a couple plays. We typically hold Mahomes in check for a little bit, and then there's just one big play that he makes that gives them the kind of momentum they need, and there's one mistake here or there, and then we lose the game, pretty closely. But I think everyone was just excited about the prospects of the new quarterback. Moving forward, though, depending on which way Lynn decides to go with the whole Tyrod situation, you might have some people wanting to commit a mutiny. But as far as the excitement level goes for the new kid, I think it's a universal thing. And just moving forward, I'm really happy about the prospects, especially with the weapons we have to surround him with.
Absolutely. All right. So, last thing, next week we play Panthers. What are you thinking is going to happen? Who do you think is going to start at QB, and what do you think is going to happen?
So I wish I could give a really good opinion about who I think is going to start, because at this point I'm completely at a loss. Everything would tell you that Herbert should start, but Lynn is really big on Tyrod, always has been. And so I feel like it'd be really difficult for him to pull the reins away, even though Herbert did play really well. We did still see some instances where, he made some rookie errors. And I mean, that kind of thing we can work through. I mean, hell, we were still in the game, even with those errors, and had a really good chance to win. I mean, totally. For all intents and purposes, if we go for it on 4th and 1 in overtime, maybe the result is a little bit different, but that's another story for another day. So if you had to, gun to my head, ask me who's going to start, I don't know why, but I feel like it's going to be Herbert. I don't think, very specifically, Lynn stated in his presser today that if Tyrod is 100%, he would start. Yeah. He's stuck to that. The fact that he kept emphasizing 100% makes me feel like that creates that little bit of gray area to where he's not fully healthy, or they don't feel like he's fully ready to go, then that's a reason to keep Herbert in. If he performs well again, though, then I think Tyrod's on the bench.
Yeah. It's just kind of crazy too, because the ribs, I didn't realize the ribs were such a big deal, and they're talking about injections, and that's what the complications came from. So he wasn't 100% when he was going to start last game. So we'll see what happens. It's kind of a nice little loophole he set up for himself to back out of that one. But score prediction, what are you thinking?
Christian McCaffrey's out, so that's one less weapon. I'm going to say we get the win. Give me 28-17.
Awesome. Love it. All right, man. Hey, I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for coming on. And man, we'll talk again soon. Try and get it rolling again.
Man, absolutely, man. Whenever you guys want to give me the opportunity to jump on, I'm here. Love talking to you. Love interacting with you. So appreciate it again.
For sure, brother. I'll see you on Twitter. See you on Twitter on Sunday.
Absolutely, man. See you then. Both game.
Yeah, dude, he's super cool, man.
Wow, that guy's awesome.
Craig rules. I found myself like messaging with him on Twitter the whole time. It was just so much fun. So
I hope he doesn't start if he starts a Charger podcast, we might be out of a side game.
I know, right? We might have to make him like a normal, bring him on more often. He has some really good insights, and he played football, so he has experience. He knows the X's and O's, and you can kind of tell talking to him. So it was really nice of him to take the time, and it's always fun to meet new people.
Absolutely.
I think that's what I've loved most about this podcast is not only hanging out with you guys talking Chargers all the time, which is my favorite thing, meeting a plethora of Charger fans, unlike any amount I've ever met in my life. So it's pretty awesome.
Absolutely.
That's really cool.
And he's got a great voice. I mean, if he's from one voice guy to another, Craig, you gotta stretch that muscle, buddy, and bring a little bit of extra
capitalize on this.
Take advantage of having a sweet voice. I'll tell you, it opens some doors here and there. Excellent. Well, great. And we even got a bolt prediction out of Craig. So we might have to include him on our Instagram photo for see if we can add him to our bolt prediction. But we need to look at our own bolt predictions before we get in there. So Kyle, the coach, Duggin, you've done a lot of analyzing of both teams. I feel like your prediction might be the most accurate this week. What are you thinking?
It's pretty bold this week. The score is, I think, pretty accurate. It's going to be 27-13 Chargers.
27-13.
Yeah, 27-13. I think we're going to score 3, get a couple. Money Badger's going to get in there a couple times. But this is the bold part. I think Kenneth Murray is going to get his first pick.
Ooh.
And his first sack.
Oh, my goodness.
Ooh, same game.
In the same game. Yeah.
Wow.
He's ready to bust out.
I like it. I like it when we get bold and crazy. Like, this is fun.
So crazy.
That's what it's supposed to be. Excellent. What are you thinking, Kev?
Definitely winning this game. I feel pretty good after watching some of the Carolina highlights and stuff, especially without McCaffrey. It's just a different team.
Right.
I'm going to go 31-17 Chargers. Pretty decisive. I think Herbert starts again, and I think he's going to throw for 3 passing touchdowns.
Ooh.
That is my prediction.
I like it.
What you got?
I am going to go, considering that we haven't really crested 20 points yet this season, I'm going to go just one more little baby step further. I'm going to say we're going to win 21. I think it's going to be 21-14. And I'm going to be a little conservative on my bold prediction. I'm going to say Eckler's going to get his first wide receiver or first rushing touchdown and his first passing touchdown. 2 touchdowns for Eckler. That's what I'm calling.
Nice. I can get on board. With that. I like that.
I would hope you do. So
all of these predictions are great. I go with any of them.
Right.
I just, you know.
I'm not going crazy like no touchdowns, only field goals.
The craziest thing I might have ever heard.
Reining back in. When you're playing against Kansas City
Incredible.
Chiefs, you got to shoot for the fences. So that's what I did last week.
You shot for Mars, bro.
I did.
That was like the epic long shot calls. I loved it.
You got to live in hope and die in despair. So excellent. All right. Well, there you go, folks. That's our show for this week. It's probably the longest one ever. We'll find out when I get done cutting this massive beast together. But if you stuck around with us the whole time, thanks. We really appreciate it. And we'd love to hear from you, folks. Don't forget to hit us up on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You can be just like my man Craig here from Texas and chat with one of us and share some of the positive vibes that we like to spread around each other and bathe in, as I like to call it. We like to bathe in the good vibes, folks. That will do it for us this week on Charger Chat, folks. Don't forget to bolt up, because we're ready for any squad, any place.
Okay, love you, bye.
Okay, love you, bye.
Okay, love you, bye. And now, a word from our sponsors.
Hey, Charger Nation, Andy Reid here. I know week 1, a lot of you had a good laugh about my foggy visor. Man, that was brutal. So what happened last week? Well, I'll let you in on a little secret. Cheeseburgers. That's right, cheeseburgers. The grease from the cheeseburgers acts as an anti-fogging agent, keeping my visor clear enough to see all the times we should have gotten a flag, but didn't. Just a little dab, and I'm good to go. Thanks, cheeseburgers. Cheeseburgers. What else do you want? It's a cheeseburger.